A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. Amid escalating US tariffs and rising global economic uncertainty, India and China are cautiously testing the waters of cooperation. Beijing's top diplomat Wang Yi arrived in New Delhi carrying a personal message and invitation from President Xi Jinping for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend the SCO Summit in Tianjin. With trade frictions reshaping geopolitics, this outreach could pave the way for a meeting between PM Modi and President Xi that may define Asia's role in the emerging world order. Take a look.
As global economic uncertainties grow, India and China are cautiously recalibrating their ties. With Washington imposing fresh tariffs on Chinese goods and trade frictions escalating, Beijing is turning to strengthen neighborhood diplomacy. In this backdrop, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi arrived in New Delhi for a crucial round of engagements with India's leadership. He first held talks with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval before calling on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. During the meeting, Wang Yi conveyed a personal message and extended an invitation from President Xi Jinping for the upcoming SCO Summit in Tianjin. Prime Minister Modi emphasized the importance of peace and tranquility along the border, reiterating India's commitment to a fair and mutually acceptable resolution of the boundary question. He also welcomed the positive momentum in ties since his meeting with President Xi in Kazan last year, including the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. By accepting President Xi's invitation, Prime Minister Modi has set the stage for a high-profile Modi-Xi meeting in Tianjin later this year. He underlined that stable, predictable and constructive ties between India and China are essential for regional stability and global prosperity. This sense of renewed stability was reinforced by NSA Ajit Doval, who pointed to the calm on the borders and a strong momentum in ties over the past 9 months.
I had a wonderful meeting in the last round in Beijing. And I'm very happy that since then, in the last 9 months, there has been an upward trend. Borders have been quiet. There have been peace and tranquility. Our bilateral engagements have been more substantial. And we are most grateful to our leaders who, in Kazan, in October last, were able to set a new trend, and we have profited a lot since then. The new environment that has been created has helped us in moving ahead in the various areas that we were working on.
Both India and China agreed to establish a new working group on border affairs, hold consultations on demarcations, and inject greater predictability into their ties. They also decided to resume direct flights and boost trade and investment as the neighbors look to repair relations strained by the 2020 border clash.
Having seen a difficult period in our relationship, Excellency, our two nations now seek to move ahead. This requires a candid and constructive approach from both sides. In that endeavor, we must be guided by the three mutuals: mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest. Differences must not become disputes, nor competition conflict.
Against the backdrop of rising global uncertainty and Washington's unpredictable foreign policy under President Donald Trump, the two Asian giants are cautiously but steadily strengthening engagement through a series of high-level visits.
This meeting is extremely important because it's happening at a time when the world is in a flux, in turmoil. Trump tariffs are causing impact. And India has recently been seeing some signals from the United States with which we are not very happy. So all countries are looking to recalculate. Even China is looking to recalculate its relations with America and with the rest of the global South and with India. So coming at this juncture of history, in early 21st century, because we are seeing the creation of a new world order. So it will depend upon how well India and China get along and how much India and China can together influence the emerging world order.
For India and China, the road ahead will not be without challenges, but the current momentum signals a pragmatic effort to manage differences and expand cooperation. As both nations prepare for Prime Minister Modi's visit to Tianjin, the world will be watching closely how this renewed dialogue shapes not just bilateral ties but also the contours of an emerging global order.
Amid regional diplomatic moves, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's three-day visit to Moscow reaffirmed the time-tested India-Russia partnership, reflecting New Delhi's balancing act as it faces US tariff pressures and shifting global challenges. Take a look.
India and Russia share a relationship built on trust, energy, and strategic cooperation. From defense and space to energy and trade, Moscow remains one of New Delhi's most reliable partners. It was in this spirit that India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar concluded a three-day visit to Moscow aimed at further strengthening the time-tested partnership. During his visit, Jaishankar co-chaired the 26th session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation, a key platform to boost bilateral collaboration. The trip, however, came against the backdrop of strains in India's ties with Washington. US President Donald Trump recently doubled tariffs on Indian goods to 50%, while also imposing a 25% penalty on India's purchase of Russian crude oil.
The global context for our meeting today is provided by the evolving geopolitical situation, the shifting economic and trade landscape, and our shared goal is to maximize our complementarity. So today I am very confident that our exchange of views would be very fruitful, would be very productive, and would certainly contribute to making the annual summit as outcome-oriented as possible.
The Russian side too underlined the depth and continuity of the partnership. Officials noted that ties have remained steady for nearly 8 decades, evolving into a strategic partnership that continues to expand.
The relations are expanding. They are uninterrupted 78 years already since the establishment of diplomatic relations. This anniversary we celebrate this year. We also celebrate 25th anniversary of strategic partnership. The engagements, including the current visit of Honorable Minister Jaishankar and his engagements in Moscow and the coming SCO Summit, are setting the stage for the future visit of the President Putin to India by the end of this year.
For India, Moscow remains a trusted partner in energy, defense and technology. Even as tariff tensions complicate its trade with Washington, New Delhi is making it clear that its strategic autonomy lies in diversifying partnerships, not choosing sides. S. Jaishankar's Moscow visit has not only reaffirmed the resilience of the India-Russia bond, but also set the stage for President Putin's visit to India later this year. A reminder that despite global pressures, the relationship continues to look firmly ahead.
Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
Heavy monsoon rains and flash floods have unleashed widespread devastation across Pakistan, killing at least 700 people since late June, according to UN agencies and national authorities. The relentless downpours have displaced thousands of families, swept away homes, and inundated vast swaths of farmland, raising fears of a looming food security crisis. Iran recently launched its first independent military drills since the June conflict with Israel, state media reported, framing the move as an effort to project strength after suffering significant losses. As part of the exercise, dubbed Sustainable Power 1404, units from Iran's regular navy fired missiles and deployed drones against targets in the Indian Ocean. Russia's Pacific Fleet launched cruise and anti-ship missiles during drills in the Sea of Japan that also involved aircraft and drones. Russia's defense ministry released footage of the frigate launching the missiles. According to ministry, the maneuver was carried out by ships and vessels of the Pacific Fleet, as well as the fleet's naval aviation aircraft and drones.
In Pakistan, a nationwide crackdown is forcing Afghan refugees out. Many say returning to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan is unthinkable, a journey back to danger and uncertainty. Rights groups are warning that unless the international community steps in, Pakistan's mass expulsions could trigger a humanitarian crisis with devastating consequences for those caught in the middle. A report.
In a park in Islamabad, dozens of Afghan refugee families huddle under makeshift shelters with nowhere else to go. Around 200 families now cook, sleep and dry their belongings in the open, following nights of heavy rain. Among them is 26-year-old Samia from Afghanistan's persecuted Hazara minority, who gave birth just 3 weeks ago.
ما افروزه بود اینجا آمدیم افروزه بود که آمدیم بست افروزه شده بست 8 روز بست 2 روزه شده که مشکلات شو باران روز آفتابی زیر گرمی شو باران خنک خوراکای چیزی نداریم چیزی بهداشتی باشگکم ندارم دیگه دکتر نیست مریض شده بود سینه‌اش گرفته سلفه میکنه این مشکلات خودم مریض چی عملیات شدیم زیرا دلم درد میکنه کل جانم مشکلات دچار هستیم.
Pakistan has hosted millions of Afghan refugees since the 1979 Soviet invasion. But authorities have intensified expulsions under a 2023 crackdown, blaming Afghan migrants for crime and militancy. Accusations Kabul denies.
من قبلا در راولپندی خیابان سرسید زندگی می کردم چون به خاطر نداشتن ویزا ما مجبور شدیم که خانه خود ترک کنیم و مجبور شدیم که بیاییم تمام ما در پارک اعتراض کنیم. ما به خاطر از این به پاکستان آمدیم چون به یونیسیار ما کیس داشتیم و یونیسیار تقریبا 3-4 میلیون افغان ثبت نام کردن، راجستر کردن. اما بر ما خیلی وعده ها دادن، وعده دروغ دادن که ما از نزدیک در پارک میاییم شما را میبینیم از مشکلات شما پرسان میکنیم. اما یونیسیار تا فعلا به پارک نامده، از مشکلات ما خبر نداره، درباره مشکلات ما پرسان نکرده.
The United Nations says Pakistan has already started deporting even documented Afghans, ahead of a September 1 deadline that could see more than 1 million forced to leave. However, for many, going back to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan is simply not an option. At the same time, advocacy groups in Europe have filed a criminal case against Germany's foreign and interior ministers, accusing them of failing to protect Afghan nationals in Pakistan who already hold German admission approvals and are now at risk of deportation.
Für die Afghanen mit Aufnahmezusage in Pakistan ist das Worst-Case-Szenario eingetreten. Es kommt aktuell zu massiven Inhaftierungen und zu Abschiebungen von pakistanischen Behörden nach Afghanistan. Das ist auch Resultat deutschen Behördenhandelns bzw. Behördenversagens. Denn die neue Bundesregierung hat seit ihrem Amtsantritt die Aufnahme von gefährdeten Afghanen ausgesetzt. Für uns ist klar, damit macht sie sich auch strafrechtlich schuldig.
Rights groups warn that mass deportations are exposing Afghan families to grave dangers. Many of those forced back face persecution, arbitrary detention or worse under Taliban rule.
Von dem, was wir hören, ist es wirklich pure Verzweiflung. Hier werden Familien wurden auseinandergerissen. Es kam ja selbst zur Abschiebung von minderjährigen Mädchen ohne ihre Eltern. Das sind ja wirklich dann, die sind in einer Lage, wo sie keinerlei Rechte haben in Afghanistan. Man hört, dass sie erstmal in ein Camp in Afghanistan gebracht wurden, aber auch unter sehr schlechten Bedingungen. Und aus unserer Sicht ist eben klar, niemand kann ihre Sicherheit in Afghanistan garantieren, weder Deutschland noch die pakistanischen Behörden.
For thousands of Afghans clinging to safety in Pakistan, time is running out. Their fate now rests on whether the international community steps in, or allows what rights groups advocates warn could become a full-blown humanitarian disaster.
From breathtaking natural beauty to becoming a hub of sports and development, Kashmir is truly scripting a new chapter of progress and opportunity. Tourism is on the rise, infrastructure is expanding, and now world-class sporting events are showcasing the valley's vibrant spirit. The recently concluded Khelo India Water Sports Festival 2025 at Srinagar's iconic Dal Lake brought together athletes from across the nation, turning the jewel of Kashmir into a spectacular arena of energy, unity and celebration. Take a look.
Kashmir today is scripting a remarkable new chapter of peace, progress and prosperity. Once only known for its scenic beauty, the valley is now fast emerging as a hub of development and opportunity. Tourism is booming, infrastructure is expanding, and international standard sporting events are firmly putting Jammu and Kashmir on India's national map. The latest example of this transformation was on full display at the spectacular Khelo India Water Sports Festival 2025, hosted at Srinagar's world-famous Dal Lake. The iconic lake, long celebrated as the jewel of Kashmir, turned into a thrilling sporting arena as the festival concluded with resounding success. Over 3 action-packed days, more than 400 athletes from 36 states and union territories battled fiercely for 24 gold medals in rowing, canoeing and kayaking. The sight of national champions powering their boats across Dal Lake's shimmering waters symbolized a new Kashmir, confident, dynamic and forward-looking. The energy of the participants and the enthusiasm of visitors created an atmosphere of unity and celebration, showcasing how sports can become a bridge between culture, youth empowerment and economic growth.
मेरे को पहली बार कश्मीर आने का मौका मिला है और यहाँ मेरे को आके बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. जैसे मेरे फॉरेनर में तो बहुत टूर हैं, पर यहाँ भी ऐसे ही लग रहा है कि फॉरेनर में हो रहा कंपटीशन. और यहाँ का माहौल और बहुत अच्छा है, रहने की और खाने की, और डल लेक की व्यवस्था भी बहुत अच्छी है.
The event marked a milestone for Jammu and Kashmir, which earlier hosted the Khelo India Winter Games in Gulmarg. This was India's first open-age national water sports championship, with all 24 medal events part of the Olympic program. Demonstration events like water skiing, dragon boat race and shikara boat sprint added local flavor while boosting tourism potential.
बहुत अच्छा ये इनिशिएटिव है जो J&K स्पोर्ट्स काउंसिल ने उठाया एंड साई स्पोर्ट्स अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया ने उठाया. बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है जो यहाँ काउंसिल के ऑल जितने भी एथलीट्स हैं, जितने भी वॉलंटियर्स हैं, वो यहाँ पार्टिसिपेशन कर रहे हैं. या अगर हमारी बात करेंगे, हम कोच से या हमारी ड्यूटी यहाँ लगे एज ए वॉलंटरी, हमें काम करना है, एथलीट को देखना है, एथलीट को हमें ये करना है कि अगर इसके पास पानी नहीं, उनको पानी का प्रोवाइड करना. हर एक चीज़ यहाँ फैसिलिटी, हम चाहते हैं कि ये यहाँ एडवेंचर में यहाँ बूस्ट हो जाएगी.
The successful completion of Khelo India Water Sports Festival 2025 not only crowned new champions but also reinforced Khelo India's vision of spreading sports to every corner of the country. Most importantly, it has underlined Jammu and Kashmir's emergence as a vibrant sporting destination and a land of opportunities. Dal Lake, only seen as a symbol of beauty, has now become a symbol of growth, confidence and prosperity. The festival has left behind not just medals and memories but also a strong message that Kashmir is writing a new chapter of peace, progress and national integration through sports.
From Dal Lake to the world stage, Kashmir is making waves in more ways than one. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.